Gold and silver prices crash in historic sell-off. Gold prices to hit new lows of $1,450 and silver to go down to as low as $12 per ounce. Well, this is how you print back holders in real time, but we already discussed this in the previous video. People already pissed off, probably crying their eyes out. They borrow money, they use leverage. But who I am to argue with the hype boys on the markets? Let's stick with the details. So the spot prices of silver down 28%. 28%, what a sell-off. My little free end, and people were making the case that the precious metals are not stocks, are not crypto, are not the US dollar. They're valuable, they are not fluctuating, they couldn't go down. Nonsense. So the prices was hovering around $83, currently it's even lower per ounce. Not a surprise, you don't have to be, excited because things are going to get even worse. According to the summary over here from the X, this is, or this was, and most likely it's not going to be, the worst single day drop since 1980s. And all the backholders of silver who held over 20 years just to break even, already having a small reminiscence. They already remember that, oh my gosh, last time what happened, it might happen again. And believe me, if these people went through this particular crash, they have to hold their silver bags for 20 plus years just to break even. They're going to be the first ones selling right now, seeing weakness on the market, not waiting another 20 years to break even again, right? Forget about what Peter Schiff and the people like Peter Schiff saying that this is a buying opportunity, this is that. Same thing what Robert Kiyosaki was mentioning, that this is going to be the biggest crash of our lifetime, and this and that, and buy Bitcoin. And what was it, November or December, somebody reported that he sold some Bitcoin. Don't ask me why, ask him why. Also over here, the sell-off was followed by President Trump's nomination for the Fed, which was Kevin Walsh. Which, why would that be even the case? Why people be reacting like this? Well, this is acting like this because the US dollar will again go back to the previous levels and will sacrifice all the gold and precious metals price action because the dollar will regain its power. What a bad news for gold and silver investors, but even worse news for BRICS, which in fact launched just 2 days ago their new currency called UNIT. If you're not following the international economic news, I honestly believe it will be very hard for you to follow up and really match the pieces, but this is a very strong checkmate move from President Trump because now he's seeing what is happening with BRICS, and BRICS was trying to capitalize on the weak dollar, trying to capitalize on their gold and silver reserves, trying to build their wealth, country wealth, and their hedge. Because, let me explain, the new currency of BRICS called UNIT is 50% backed with gold and 50% is backed by basket of currencies of the countries in BRICS, which trying to make it less volatile, trying to make it in some form or shape at least copycat of the early dollar gold backing before or after Bretton Woods, which, don't take my word for it, it most likely won't work. But anyway, let's go back to the facts. Kevin Walsh is very, very bullish on the dollar, and Kevin Walsh will create much more value and much more contribution and intrinsic value for the transacting in US dollar. Will most likely reduce the Fed exposure to gold and silver, will most likely create a long-term cooling off the precious metals, and this also might trigger actual oil prices to hit new lows. Just wait for it. Again, the losses today alone totaled $3 trillion to $7 trillion across both metals alone. We're not even looking into the smaller precious metals market caps in the sell-offs like copper or palladium. Things are gonna get even worse over there. Not to mention the liquidity over there is much worse. So this simply meant that there's a very high chance a lot of people who tried to sell weren't able to get filled on the prices they're trying to sell. And again, if you if you have a basket of precious metals, if you're a precious metals bull, someone that is forever and in the future is only going to be the precious metals, forget about stock market, you do understand that these people will be panic selling first of all this type of precious metals, the ones that with the lowest liquidity, the ones that is very hard to exit. It's easy to enter, everyone is willing to sell you their palladium, their copper, but it's very hard to sell. Why? Because there's not a matching buy order on the opposite side of the equation, and also there is no market making on the precious metals. So there's no a market maker who is forced to buy when no one wants to buy, or forced to sell when no one wants to sell. Again, people don't want to listen. People are extremely arrogant. They argue. I've seen people arguing with Ray Dalio, with Warren Buffett. I've seen people, especially in these financial news channels, having zero achievements in any financial markets, and arguing with these legends, right? So I'm not surprised people will still be arrogant and still will be claiming that they know more about the market, they know more about gold, they know more about silver, and they never get rich. I don't know how this works. If you know more than the biggest OGs, if you know more than the billionaires, if you know more than individuals from Wall Street or financial markets or private equity funds, well, then you most likely has to be wealthier than them, but you are not. So I guess this destroys your thesis in real time. Anyway, crypto market also suffer. We have to put everything on the table, right? We're not excluding the Bitcoin sell-off below 82,000, but that's not a news. Remember, we had Bitcoin around 80,000 in November sell-off. I made a special recap video where in 2025 we only had 3 good months for crypto. It was March, it was August, and it was September, and everything else was complete garbage. Sell-offs, chop, sell-offs, and completely die out. And now we're having this, widespread liquidations. But like I said, this is not a new news for crypto. This is not new news for tech sector, considering the yesterday's earnings, very mixed reaction. Microsoft overspending with not clear roadmap in the future. Only Meta benefited because the benefited of Meta using AI, collecting more money from ads. And Meta ad campaigns are very profitable. Meta also did the partnership with Ray-Ban, which in fact somehow became successful. I was very surprised. The product looks very ugly. Like the V1 version 1 always is like, not so perfect, not so polished, but I guess people like it. So most of the market crashed today. We are going to be honest, but nothing of the silver and gold bulls was not expecting to happen. So this is why we have to point out this, we have to highlight this, and we have to give them a red card, right, for not being experienced or knowledgeable about the markets, expecting that only silver and gold will continue and persevere all and every market crashes. It's funny, it's ridiculous, and these people should have the reality check, not only from me, from the market itself.